What's up, guys? Just got back from ETH Denver, and I just want to take a couple of minutes, probably like 10 minutes or so, to just talk about my experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, and kind of like just the overall experience and if I'll do it again. So hopping right into it, overall, I think it was really cool. It's my first crypto conference. I will, we'll see how it goes after this whole review and everything, but I want to start at the beginning with my personal experience. So when I got there, it was very bad, almost poor. I just say poor. To keep it simple, they had a COVID testing system where you had to line up to get tested for COVID before you can get registered for the event. So I get in on Thursday, get in line, and it's 20 degrees in Denver. And for somebody like me who's from the Bay Area, that's pretty cold to sit outside. And the thing is that they had us outside for there were some people who were outside for up to 2.5 hours, just sitting outside in the cold waiting to enter to register. So I think I was probably about an hour and a half outside, which was not good. I think that, from a, communication and human side of things, you want people to go into a conference and go into an event feeling good, not, grumbling or upset or uncomfortable with something like this. So I thought that was really poor, the way that was kind of designed with your first experience and kind of where you're starting at, to be freezing outside and having to stay in line because there's no other way to get inside or no other way to get registered. So just a quick tip for these folks, if you want to do something like this, possibly having a quick like QR code where you sign up and then you have something where you come back during a 5 or 10 minute period to go ahead and get tested. That way that everybody can kind of go out and enjoy the city and then come back and only have to wait 5 or 10 minutes outside. It's something that I've done in the past with some of the other companies that I've consulted with in the past with how to maintain lines when you need to stay outdoors. So that's a quick tip for if you guys want to figure out how to kind of get around that that situation. But please, in the future, the folks at ETH Denver, don't do that again. It's really poor as far as the user experience, the person experiencing it. And, you guys aren't communication people. I understand that. You guys are, programmers and developers. So, but yeah, that was a really bad experience. So for me, I ended up going home right after that, after sitting outside and just going to my Airbnb. And actually that kind of told me a little bit. It said that in my experience, when someone tells you who they are, that's who they are. So with that experience, I said, this is probably how it's going to be for the entire weekend. So I ended up waking up early and getting in line for the first main event day on Friday, just wanting to make sure that I didn't have to wait in line again just to get inside. So I got to the main event. It's called the Castle at about 8 o'clock in the morning. And 8:15, 8 o'clock. And I was like number 12, 15 in line, just waiting for it to open up. Met a cool guy in line. He was programming. He is building like SDK on Cosmos. So I learned a lot about Cosmos ecosystem while I was waiting in line. Really cool dude. I'm excited to see what he does with it. And even Cosmos as a whole, I think it's really cool learning more about kind of what they're doing and everything. So yeah, I'll leave a link. I might leave a link in the description about him, just in case anybody wants to reach out about Cosmos. But yeah, so waited in line not too long, got inside. And here's another thing is that there was a no in, no out policy. So once I waited in line and I'm inside, I could not leave to go get food unless I wanted to go wait in the line, which was like 2 hours. So I ended up not waiting in line. I ended up not going outside to get food because, I didn't want to wait in line for 2 hours to get back into the place. So that's another design flaw right there where, you have people who want to, experience the event but not be able to go back in. Kind of, puts a damper on everything in a way. But let's see. Those were some of the bad parts as far as the beginning, but they were able to make up for it with the actual event. The speakers were really great. The people that were there were extremely helpful. The individuals were extremely helpful with navigating space. There was no real kind of super arrogance or ego around people who knew things. It felt really comfortable. Now, I will say that if you don't know anything about cryptocurrency, it might have been overwhelming because people do have some base knowledge about what's going on. So if I'm there talking with people, even though I let them all know that, I work in communications, I'm not a programmer, I was still able to kind of keep up with the conversation. It wasn't like any type of anything super overwhelming as far as what I need to know. You just need to know the basic stuff. What is an SDK? what is Ethereum virtual machine? How are these things kind of working together? What's a wallet? All that kind of stuff. So as long as you knew that, it seemed pretty cool. I want to talk about a little bit about another. I went to a talk with a group called Tally. They're actually making a wallet. I believe it's open source. And there was a girl who gave a presentation about it. She did a really good job, actually. She was comparing their wallet to MetaMask. Now, I actually use MetaMask mainly because was the first wallet that was promoted to me. So that's kind of where I've always kind of used. I've used MetaMask for the most part for all of my transactions on Ethereum. But she actually showed a number of things that was kind of troubling. So first thing is that it was, MetaMask is closed source. They have a lot of private money. And there was some stuff that she kind of showed up where she explained how, and this is where I kind of was over my head a little bit, but she kind of explained how in the long term, there are ways where MetaMask could set up to give some more access or not access, but they can set it up to where it's more favorable to larger businesses in utilizing the wallet for certain things. So the way she explained it was over my head for sure, but she actually explained it in a way to where their wallet would actually not be so invasive with your information, and you'll get more control over it. So I went over to the Tally Wallet booth, talked to a young lady. She was extremely helpful. I told her about how her colleague on stage did a really great job, and I was excited to hear about that. So I joined their Discord, and I'm going to be checking it out for a little while. I'll let you guys know how I feel about it, if it's truly open source, if they're listening to community, those kind of things. So I'm excited to kind of learn more about that. They had a whole floor. They called the Shill Floor, which is a really cool name, which is pretty much just a bunch of different companies who are trying to get you on board with if you're a developer or if you're trying to build something. And there were some really cool companies there. So I met the team at Shapeshift, which is an organization I used a lot when I was transferring currencies on Exodus in the very beginning in 2017. So I got to meet them, learn what they're doing. I think that they're kind of creating a DAO now. So I'm going to go in and out of their kind of Discord and see what's going on with them. Really cool to meet that team. The Chainlink team, they're always, Chainlink is one of the most, one of the coolest cryptos. I think it actually has some utility, which is really cool. So I met them. Two of the other products that I'm trying to decide on if I want to try to build something on for this DAO product that I'm working on is Harmony and Near protocol. Now, the reason why is because they both have these really, really generous grant opportunities where if you're trying to build something, it might be good to try those two out. Now, all my experience pretty much has been on Ethereum and the Ethereum protocol. But I think it's important to just kind of learn more about other protocols as well. So the Harmony protocol, it seems really cool. The guy gave a great presentation. But when I went onto their site, as far as like the grants and trying to understand how the proposals work, it's not very user friendly. I think maybe it was developed for developers specifically. So I spent a little bit of time on there, and I kind of I'm not sure if I want to really go this route, because if this is how it's being presented right now, I'm probably going to run into more barriers in the future. So I didn't really spend too much time on their site trying to figure out how to navigate the grant process. It was kind of like this Excel document. It was a little overwhelming for me. So I ended up going to the Near protocol. And even at the booth, there was a guy named Austin, super helpful with just helping me understand what's going on, what they do, giving me information about the website. And so after that, I went on the website with Near Protocol, and it was truly a great user experience. They had information on community projects. They had community-led videos, tutorials. They had a university-style way of learning. They had a step-by-step process. If you're just getting in, and let's say you don't have much experience with programming, you can actually go through the process and build like a NFT kind of page, which is extremely helpful. So the Near protocol, they did a great job with their website, with their onboarding, with just that whole user experience. It was top notch. I'm not gonna do more research into kind of who they are, who's funding them, all those types of things. But as far as the experience for me, it was really good. So if they are, me, I tend to be very exclusively decentralized, open source, those types of things. So I wanted to learn more about Near Protocol and kind of where they are on that spectrum before making any significant moves with what I'm trying to do. But overall, they take the cake for me as far as onboarding and trying to get people on board with using their protocol for any type of future projects. They have a generous grant program. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm gonna definitely take a dive and look more into seeing what they're doing. And then one of the highlights of my day, I actually was able to meet up with the Balancer team. They are working on a app wallet for the iOS kind of iPhone market. So this is kind of a first of its kind. They have a really great design, and I think that they're in line with the kind of Apple design. Really cool team. I met Rick, really cool dude, very ambitious guy. I don't know him very well, but he's got to be one of the hardest working people that I've seen as far as how he puts out a newsletter. He's open to talking and all this kind of stuff. So really dope dude. And a really exciting project. I got to meet that team, and I'm excited to kind of work with them in the future on any type of kind of communications work. I love what they're doing, and I just want to be a part of that project. So kudos to the Balance team. I think that they're going to be awesome, and they're going to do some really great stuff. After this day was over, what I ended up doing is I got an invite to this after dinner party for some of the it's like a diversity kind of dinner party. A lot of the African American developers and people who are on the scene went, and we actually got to network. And this was probably one of the biggest highlights of the event for me, because I got to meet a lot of different developers and people who can point me in the right directions for funding. So really great connections, really great contacts that I made. And really great dinner even. So it was a really great time. I think that was a really great into the day for me. And then I ended up just kind of going home after the dinner. But super awesome time. I want to send a special shout out to Saba. She kind of invited me to that event. So thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. But as far as me going down there trying to find a developer to work with, not going to happen. They were in such high demand that working on a project like mine, it didn't make sense for a lot of them. There's people throwing literally hundreds of thousands of dollars for them just to try to build something on their protocol. So the demand for developers is so high. It was really hard to find somebody to work with me on a project. However, I did make some really great contacts, and I'm excited to just kind of grow that contact list in the future. And that's kind of my takeaway from this event. So will I come back again next year? Absolutely. I just hope that they make some changes to the logistics side of how they kind of operate things. But as far as the content that was there, the people that were there, amazing. I mean, I think that they did a great job with providing the content. It's just the logistics side that needs some help. Please, if there's anything that the team does, fix the logistics to make sure that people have a great experience from that side, but the content side was great. So I'm interested in talking more about this with other people who might have been there. If you were there and you had a different experience, go ahead and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to talk to you more about it. And that's all I have here. Talk to you guys soon.